Especially Amy Roloff, her ex-boyfriend return announcement today. Yeah, you are right. Chris hospitalized. I will explain everything. We got something really surprising to talk about today, especially if you're a fan of Little People, Big World, and the Roloff family. Amy Roloff, who we all know as the strong and spirited matriarch from the show, just made a surprising announcement that's getting fans talking. It's all about someone from her past, her ex-boyfriend. That's right. Amy has just revealed that an ex from years ago is suddenly back in her life. And the internet is buzzing with questions. Why is he back? What does this mean for Amy and her current husband, Marek? And is there something more going on than just a friendly reunion? Let's dive into all of it. First, let's go back a bit and talk about Amy's love life after her divorce from Matt Roloff. As you probably remember, Amy was married to Matt for almost 30 years. They raised 4 kids, built Roloff farms together, and shared their entire journey on television. But over time, the two just grew apart. They had different personalities, different ideas for the future, and their relationship started to break down. In 2016, they officially divorced. It was a tough time for Amy, and it took her a while to get back on her feet. But not long after the divorce, Amy surprised fans when she started dating again. One of the first relationships Amy had after her divorce was with a man who wasn't in the public eye. His name hasn't been widely shared, and Amy kept that relationship mostly private. But she did mention him a few times on social media and in interviews. She talked about how hard it was to trust someone again, and how nervous she felt stepping into the dating world after being married for so long. That relationship didn't last very long, and eventually they broke up. Amy moved on and later met Marek, the man who is now her husband. Chris was different. He wasn't connected to the show. He was just a regular guy with a love for motorcycles and adventure. Over time, Amy fell for him, and the two tied the knot in 2021. Fans were happy to see Amy smile again and find love after so much heartbreak. But now, here we are, and Amy just made a surprising announcement. In a recent video she posted on social media, Amy shared that her ex-boyfriend, the one she dated right after divorcing Matt, has recently reached out to her. She didn't give his full name, but she said they've reconnected after years of no contact. She said it started with a simple message, and then they started talking more. Amy was very honest about how the whole thing caught her off guard. She said she didn't expect to hear from him again, and at first, she didn't know how to respond. But after thinking about it, she decided to catch up with him, just to see how he's doing and where his life has taken him. Now, before we go any further, Amy made it very clear that she is not leaving her husband Chris. She said she is still very happy in her marriage, and that this situation is not about starting anything romantic again. But still, fans are curious. Why is this guy back now? And what does he want? In her video, Amy said that her ex told her he had been thinking a lot about the past and wanted to make peace. Apparently, there were things left unsaid between them, feelings that were never fully resolved. He wanted to apologize for how things ended and say he respected the way Amy moved on and rebuilt her life. Amy said she appreciated his honesty. She said she's not holding on to any anger or regret, but it was nice to hear those words after so many years. She said sometimes closure comes in unexpected ways, and this conversation gave her that closure. Now, some fans are wondering if this reunion will be shown on an upcoming season of Little People, Big World. Amy didn't confirm anything, but she did hint that more updates may be coming soon. If TLC decides to include the storyline, it could make for some very interesting episodes, especially if Chris gets involved or gives his thoughts on it all. Speaking of Chris, Amy said he's aware of the situation and fully supportive. According to Amy, Chris trusts her and knows she's not looking to start anything with her ex. She said that Chris even encouraged her to meet up and talk to her ex if that would help bring some closure to the past. Honestly, that's pretty mature. A lot of people wouldn't be okay with their spouse meeting up with an old flame. But it sounds like Chris and Amy have a strong relationship based on trust and communication. Now, let's talk about what this could mean for Amy going forward. Amy's been through a lot. From her very public divorce, to dealing with tensions around the farm, to starting over in her 50s, she's shown so much strength. Maybe reconnecting with her ex is just another way for her to fully close the chapter on that part of her life. Sometimes, healing comes in stages, and this could be the final piece of the puzzle for Amy. She's also talked a lot recently about self-reflection and personal growth. On her Instagram and YouTube, she shares videos where she opens up about life, love, and what she's learned through all the ups and downs. So maybe this isn't about rekindling an old romance. Maybe it's about understanding the journey and appreciating how far she's come. At the end of the day, Amy seems happy. She's in a loving marriage, she has her family, and she's doing things that bring her joy, like cooking, writing, and connecting with fans. Reconnecting with an ex doesn't mean going backward. Sometimes it's just a moment to look back, learn, and move on with peace in your heart. So, if you've followed Little People, Big World for a while, you already know the dynamic between Zach Roloff and his father, Matt, has been rocky for years. But recently, Zach has been calling out his dad more directly, and he's not holding back. In an interview, Zach opened up about how things really went down behind the scenes, and he used some pretty strong words. He said, "My dad is a total narcissist." And that has a lot of fans wondering, what happened to make their relationship hit such a breaking point? Let's back up a little bit. On the show, the Roloff family seemed pretty tight for a long time. Of course, they had disagreements like any family, but things took a big turn when Matt decided to sell the family farm. Zach had dreams of taking over the farm, raising his kids there, and continuing the legacy. He even made an offer to buy a portion of the land. But according to Zach, his dad basically shut it down, didn't take the offer seriously, and didn't even try to negotiate. That's when things started getting ugly. Zach said it wasn't just a disagreement, it was the way Matt handled it. He made Zach feel like his ideas didn't matter, like he didn't respect him as a son or as a father himself. That's when Zach started seeing a pattern. He felt like Matt always had to be in control, always had to be right, and always wanted to be the center of attention. And that's where the word narcissist comes in. Zach explained that narcissism isn't just about someone being full of themselves. It's deeper than that. It's about someone who constantly manipulates situations to make themselves look good, even at the cost of hurting the people closest to them. He said growing up, his dad always made everything about himself. If there was a problem, somehow it became Matt's problem. If someone was upset, Matt would turn it around and say he was the one who felt betrayed. Zach said it was exhausting, like nothing he did was ever enough, and if he disagreed with his dad, he was the bad guy. Fans noticed the tension during recent seasons of the show. You could see Zach pulling back, spending more time with his wife Tori and their kids, and trying to build a life that didn't revolve around Matt. But even off camera, things weren't getting any better. Zach said the real breaking point came when his kids got older. He started realizing how important it was to protect them from toxic family dynamics. He didn't want his children growing up feeling like they had to earn love or approval. That's when he started putting up boundaries. But Matt didn't take that well. According to Zach, when you set boundaries with a narcissist, they don't respect them, they challenge them. And that's exactly what Matt did. He accused Zach of turning his back on the family, of being ungrateful, of being dramatic. But from Zach's side, he was just trying to do what was healthy. Even though the farm was a big source of tension, Zach said it wasn't just about land or money. It was about how his dad treated people, like everything had to be on Matt's terms, or it wasn't happening. Zach said his dad used guilt, emotional manipulation, and even the media to control the narrative. And fans definitely noticed that. When Matt posted about the farm sale on social media, he made it sound like he had no choice but to sell because none of the kids were interested. But Zach clapped back, saying that wasn't true, that Matt had set the price so high and acted so difficult during the process, it was impossible to move forward. That's when more people started siding with Zach. It wasn't just a father-son disagreement. It looked like a power struggle, and one where the father couldn't accept that his adult son had a different vision. Zach also talked about how being on TV for so many years made everything worse. He said Matt loved the spotlight and sometimes played a different role on camera than he did in real life. He said it was hard to talk about serious family issues when it felt like everything was being performed for an audience. He felt like his dad was more interested in the brand than the bond. Now, Zach and his wife Tori have stepped away from the show. They've been focusing on raising their kids and creating a peaceful home life, away from the drama. But the damage between Zach and Matt still lingers. And Zach's not shy about saying it anymore. He believes his dad is a narcissist, and that kind of relationship isn't easy to fix. He said he's open to healing, but only if Matt takes real accountability. Not just surface-level apologies, but true change. And so far, he hasn't seen that. Zach said he doesn't hate his dad. He said there's still love, but it's complicated. He wants his kids to know their grandfather, but only in a way that feels safe and healthy. And for now, that means keeping some distance. It's a tough situation, and a lot of fans can relate. Not everyone has a perfect relationship with their parents. And sometimes, even when you love someone, you have to step away to protect your own peace. Zach's story is a reminder that family doesn't give someone the right to disrespect or manipulate you. You're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to speak your truth, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. So when Zach says, "My dad is a total narcissist," he's not just being dramatic. He's describing years of patterns, hurt, and a struggle for respect. It's not an easy thing to say about your own parent, but sometimes the truth isn't easy. At the end of the day, Zach is choosing his family, the one he's building with Tori and their kids. And maybe that's what really matters, breaking the cycle, even if it means breaking away from people who can't change. Matt Roloff has been a central figure on Little People, Big World for nearly 2 decades. Since the show first aired in 2006, fans have watched him raise his kids, run the Roloff family farm, go through a divorce, start a new relationship, and deal with all the highs and lows that come with family life. But now, after so many years in the spotlight, Matt says he's at peace with the idea of the show ending. He's not upset. He's not fighting to keep it going. In fact, he's cool with it. Over the past few seasons, you could already feel the shift. A lot of the original charm of the show was seeing Matt and Amy raising their kids, Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, all while managing life with dwarfism. But now, the kids are grown. Most of them have moved on from filming. Jeremy and Molly left the show years ago, and Jacob doesn't want anything to do with it. Even Zach, who stayed on the longest, recently stepped away with his wife Tori. So that leaves Matt. And in a recent interview, he admitted that he's not holding on too tightly anymore. He said if the show ends, he's okay with that. He's grateful for what it gave his family, the memories, the opportunities, the way it brought them into people's homes. But at this point in his life, he's ready to focus on other things. Matt explained that he never thought the show would last as long as it did. In the beginning, they just thought it would be 1 season, maybe 2. But the fans connected with their story in a big way. People liked seeing a real family dealing with real struggles. And the fact that Matt and Amy were both little people raising 4 kids, 2 of them little people and 2 average-sized, gave the show a unique angle. But over the years, the show changed. The kids grew up. Relationships shifted. Amy moved off the farm and remarried. Matt stayed on the farm and started a new life with his girlfriend Karen. And all those changes made the show less about the whole family and more about Matt's personal journey. Now, at 63 years old, Matt says he's thinking more about retirement, slowing down, and enjoying life. He still works on projects around the farm, but he's not hustling like he used to. He built a new house with Karen on the property, and he wants to enjoy the fruits of his labor. He also admitted that filming a reality show for so long isn't as easy as people think. It takes time, energy, and coordination. You've got cameras in your house. You're constantly thinking about how things will look on TV. And sometimes, personal issues get dragged out longer than necessary because the producers want drama. Matt said he's had moments where he thought, why are we still doing this? But then he'd remember the fans, the people who grew up watching the show, and he'd keep going. Now, though, it feels like the right time to step back.
And it's not just about him.
Matt pointed out that with most of his kids no longer involved, the show doesn't have the same dynamic. It's harder to tell a full family story when most of the family isn't on screen. He understands that, and he doesn't blame anyone. Everyone is just in a different season of life. Matt also said that he's proud of what they accomplished. The show brought dwarfism into the mainstream and helped educate people. It showed that little people can do big things, run businesses, raise families, and handle life just like anyone else. For that, Matt says he'll always be proud, no matter when the show ends. He also touched on how social media has changed everything. Back when Little People, Big World first started, fans didn't have direct access to the cast. Now, with Instagram and other platforms, the Roloffs can share their lives without needing a full production crew. Matt says that's one of the reasons he's not too worried. If people still want to see what he's up to, they can follow him online. And speaking of online updates, Matt has been pretty active lately. He shares updates on farm projects, personal milestones, and even behind-the-scenes looks at life with Karen. He seems more relaxed, more focused on enjoying the little things. He also mentioned how important it is to know when to move on.
Some shows keep going way past their prime.
Matt doesn't want that to happen with Little People, Big World. He wants the legacy of the show to stay strong, not fade away because it dragged on too long. He believes there's dignity in ending something on your own terms. For now, TLC hasn't officially announced whether the show is over or coming back for another season. But Matt made it clear he's not begging for more episodes. If they call and want to film, he'll think about it. But if they don't, he's totally fine with that too. What's next for Matt? He says his focus is on his family, his relationship with Karen, and enjoying the farm. Not necessarily as a business, but as a peaceful place to live and host loved ones. He also hopes to spend more time with his grandchildren, especially now that Zach and Tori live in Washington and visit when they can. Matt knows he's made mistakes, both on and off the show. He's not pretending to be perfect, but he's trying to grow, to learn from the past, and to be a better father and grandfather moving forward. So when he says, "I'm cool if Little People, Big World is over," he really means it. He's at peace with whatever happens next. He's not chasing the spotlight. He's not trying to hold on to something that's run its course. For fans, it might be sad to say goodbye after so many years. But it's also refreshing to see someone who's genuinely okay with closing a chapter. Matt Roloff had his time on TV, and now he's ready to just live life on his own terms. And maybe, in the end, that's the real happy ending. Matt Roloff has finally spoken up about what's next for Little People, Big World, and fans are listening closely. After so many years of watching the Roloff family grow, change, and go through ups and downs, people are wondering, is the show coming back? Is it ending for good? Or is there something new on the horizon? Matt recently shared some honest thoughts about the future of the show. He didn't make a big dramatic announcement, but he was open about where things stand right now. He said that Little People, Big World has had an amazing run, and he's really proud of what they've done. But he also knows that every good thing eventually comes to an end. According to Matt, the show has been in a transition period for a while. Over the past few seasons, the show's focus has shifted. A lot of the original cast members, his kids, are no longer part of it. Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob left the show years ago, and now Zach and Tori have also stepped away. That means the family that fans grew up watching isn't really on the show anymore. Matt said that makes it hard to keep the story going. The heart of Little People, Big World was always about family, raising kids, managing life on the farm, dealing with personal challenges. But now, most of that story has already been told. The kids are adults with their own lives. And not all of them want to keep sharing those lives on camera. He said he respects that. Everyone has their own path, and being on a reality show isn't for everyone. Matt also said he's grateful for all the years the show has been on. He never expected it to last this long. When the first season aired back in 2006, they thought it would be a short-term thing. But fans connected with their family, and it kept going. Now, though, Matt feels like it might be time to wrap things up, or at least take a break. He said that TLC hasn't made any official announcements yet, and there haven't been any new filming plans confirmed. But behind the scenes, it's been quiet, and Matt seems okay with that. He said he's not pushing to keep the show alive at all costs. If it ends, he's at peace with it. He explained that the show has given him and his family so much, not just financially, but in terms of life experience. They've had the chance to travel, meet fans, and share a message about dwarfism and family life that reached people all over the world. He said that's something he'll always be thankful for. But at the same time, Matt is ready to focus on the future. And that future might not include cameras. Lately, Matt's been spending more time working on the farm, building his dream home with his fiancée Karen, and thinking about what retirement could look like. He said he's not in a rush, but he's definitely slowing down. He still has projects he wants to finish on the farm, but his goals have shifted. He's more focused on quality of life than staying busy all the time. Matt also talked about how reality TV can be draining. It takes time and energy to film. It means opening up your personal life to the public, even when things are hard. And sometimes that pressure affects relationships. He said that part has been tough, especially when private family issues become public drama. He admitted that the show hasn't always shown the full truth. Sometimes scenes were edited to create more tension. Other times, moments were filmed out of order. He said he understands that's just part of reality TV, but after so many years, it gets old. That's why, now, Matt is more focused on real life than reality TV. He said he wants to enjoy time with his grandkids, work on his home, and maybe even travel more with Karen. He's also still involved with the pumpkin season at Roloff Farms, which is one of the biggest events of the year. Even without the show, the farm is still a big part of his life. As for whether Little People, Big World could return in some form, maybe a spin-off or a shorter special, Matt said that's always possible. But he made it clear that if it doesn't happen, he's totally fine with that too. He said he's more interested in living a peaceful life now, without the pressure of filming everything. He also said he wants to give his kids the space to live their own lives. Some of them have spoken out about how being on TV wasn't always easy. Matt said he respects their feelings and doesn't want to force anyone to keep filming if it's not something they enjoy. For fans who followed the show from the beginning, this might be bittersweet. It's hard to imagine Little People, Big World ending after nearly 20 years. But Matt's attitude is calm and thoughtful. He's not sad, he's just ready for the next chapter. And honestly, the show has already left a big mark. It helped change how people see dwarfism. It showed that families come in all shapes and sizes. It showed hard work, love, divorce, parenting, and everything in between. Matt said that if the show ends now, he feels like they've said everything they needed to say. He also reminded fans that just because the show may end doesn't mean the Roloffs are gone. He still plans to stay connected with fans through social media, especially on Instagram and Facebook. He shares updates about the farm, his home, and his daily life. And for those who want to keep up, that's where to look. In the end, Matt said he's not worried about the future. Whether the cameras are rolling or not, he's focused on what really matters: family, health, happiness, and enjoying the life he's built. So while Little People, Big World may be coming to an end, or maybe just taking a long break, Matt Roloff is content. He's not chasing more episodes or holding on to the past. He's looking forward, and he's doing it with gratitude.